They noticed her the moment she walked into the house, not because she was loud, not because she was confident, but because she looked different. In a mansion where silk dresses brushed marble floors and diamonds caught every light, Zara Kamara walked in wearing a simple cotton dress and flat sandals. She paused at the doorway, holding her handbag close to her chest. Her hands trembled slightly, but her face remained calm. This was the Kamara family estate, modern, luxurious, intimidating. Zara had grown up in a small coastal town where people valued respect more than appearance. She had never imagined marrying into one of the wealthiest families in the city, but here she was. Her husband, Ethan Kamara, squeezed her hand gently. "You're okay," he whispered. She nodded, even though her heart was pounding. From the other side of the room, eyes were already judging. Morella, Ethan's older sister, leaned toward her cousin and smirked. "Is that really what she's wearing?" Another woman laughed softly. "Maybe she thinks this is a village gathering." Zara heard them. She heard every word, but she said nothing. She had learned long ago that silence was sometimes the strongest shield. Dinner was served in the grand dining hall. Zara sat quietly, placing her napkin on her lap the way her mother had taught her. Around her, the women wore designer dresses, expensive watches, and heavy perfume. Morella's eyes kept drifting back to Zara's outfit. Finally, she smiled sweetly and spoke loud enough for everyone to hear. "Zara, dear, didn't Ethan take you shopping before today?" The table went silent. Zara lifted her eyes slowly. "He did," she replied politely. Morella raised an eyebrow. "Oh, then you chose this?" A few chuckles followed. Zara nodded. "Yes." Another aunt laughed. "How refreshing, so simple." Ethan's jaw tightened. Zara felt heat rise to her face, but she kept her voice steady. "I like to be comfortable." Morella leaned back in her chair. "Comfortable is fine, but in this family, we usually dress to belong." That word hit Zara harder than any insult. Belong. She suddenly felt like a guest in her own marriage. Ethan opened his mouth to speak, but Zara gently touched his arm. It was a silent plea. Not now. He closed his mouth, but his eyes darkened. 2 days later, Morella announced another family gathering. "A casual lunch," she said. "Everyone should come." Zara hesitated when Ethan told her. "It's okay if you don't want to go," he said. She thought for a moment. "No, I'll come." She wore another simple outfit, different dress, same quiet style. When they arrived, Zara noticed something strange. Boxes. Shopping bags stacked near the entrance. Morella noticed her curiosity and smiled mysteriously. "Oh, don't worry about those." Lunch began. Conversation flowed, but Ethan was unusually calm, almost amused. Zara sensed something was coming. She just didn't know what. After lunch, Ethan stood up. "I have something for everyone," he said. The room grew quiet. He gestured toward the boxes. "Please, open them." Confused, the family members reached inside. One by one, they pulled out clothes. Simple cotton dresses, plain shirts, neutral colors, no brands, no labels. Mirella laughed nervously. "What is this?" Ethan smiled. "Today, everyone dresses like Zara." The room froze. Zara's breath caught. Ethan continued calmly. "You said she doesn't fit in, so today we all fit into her world." Silence fell, thick and heavy. For the first time since Zara entered that mansion, no one was laughing. The room was quiet. No one knew what to say. Morella looked down at her new plain cotton dress, her cheeks hot. The aunt who had laughed earlier clutched her neutral-colored scarf nervously. Zara stood still, hands folded, her face calm. She didn't smile, didn't gloat. She just looked serene.
Ethan walked over to her. "I wanted them to understand," he whispered. "Not just see, but feel." Zara nodded. She realized something. The humiliation she felt before wasn't just about the clothes. It was about her family underestimating her strength, her dignity. Now, for the first time, they could see it, not through her words, but through the respect she inspired. Morella's voice shook. I didn't realize." The aunt cleared her throat. "We were unfair." Zara finally spoke, softly but firmly. "Clothes do not make a person. Kindness, patience, and dignity do. And if you cannot respect those, no silk dress will help you fit in." The words hung in the air. No one interrupted. No one laughed. Even the youngest cousin nodded quietly. Something had shifted. The mansion felt different, not grander, but warmer, quieter, human. Ethan squeezed Zara's hand. He could see pride shining in her eyes. Not the pride of revenge, but of being herself and being seen. Over the next few days, small changes began. The family started asking Zara for advice. How to host dinner simply, how to make gatherings feel welcoming, how to listen without judging. Mirella hesitated at first, but when Zara smiled at her gently, something softened. Even Ethan's parents, who had been skeptical of Zara's quiet ways, started to notice. She didn't try to impress anyone. She didn't compete. She simply belonged. And in that belonging, she brought harmony. Weeks passed, and the mansion was no longer a battlefield. Zara walked into rooms without fear. She laughed freely, made suggestions, and shared stories from her hometown. The family began to adjust, dressing simpler at casual events, respecting each other's choices, valuing personality over appearances. Morella came to her privately one evening. I misjudged you," she admitted. Zara just nodded. "No hard feelings. We all learn differently." The lesson was clear. Strength is quiet. Respect is earned, not demanded. Months later, the mansion felt different, lighter, warmer. Zara stood in the garden, Ethan beside her, watching the family laugh and share stories together. The clothes no longer mattered. The opinions no longer stung. What mattered was love, respect, and authenticity. Ethan whispered, "You didn't just survive their judgment. You changed them." Zara smiled, looking at the family who once mocked her. "They needed it more than I did," she said softly. And in that quiet victory, she realized sometimes fitting in isn't about changing yourself. It's about showing others who you truly are and letting your dignity speak louder than their laughter. The Kamara mansion, once a symbol of wealth and status, became a home, not because of silk or gold, but because of humility, courage, and love.